Welcome. I'm Rachel Perry,
No, I'm Ryan LaFernie.
and today we're going to be talking about indexes. Understanding indexes, a journey through the H.W. Wilson Art Index. We'll start off by identifying some learning goals.
Yeah, today we want to identify what exactly is an index. And we're going to do that by describing how to navigate various types of indexes, utilizing specifically the example of the H.W. Wilson Art Index, which is utilized for art historical research and interdisciplinary research. And by the end of the tutorial, we really hope that you'll be able to navigate the H.W. Wilson Art Index efficiently and understand how to navigate various types of indexes and refine your index searches so you can find things you're looking for and things hidden gems you might not even know exist.
That's right. Well, what is an index?
Good question. It's a list arranged usually in alphabetical order and some specified datum, such as author, subject, or keyword, such as a list of items treated in a printed work that gives, for each item, the page number where it may be found, a thumb index, a bibliographical analysis of groups of publications that is usually published periodically, and a list of publicly traded companies and their stock prices.
Oh, wait. An index is what?
Yeah, it can be kind of overwhelming. So to simplify, an index is an alphabetical list by title, subject, author that leads to a collection of books or documents that a library and/or a database has available to its users. And indexes are primarily accessed via subscription electronic databases.
Okay, got it. Now that we're understanding a little bit more about what indexes are, let's talk a little bit about the history.
Sure, well, indexes existed before the 20th century as part of card catalogs and were used for a variety of purposes. And Melville Dewey, our champion leader of our hero of library science, standardized the index cards used in library card catalogs in the late 19th century.
So a lot has changed since Dewey's time.
Very true.
We've entered the digital age, and now we have digital indexes. So let's talk about the pros of digital indexes.
Yeah, well, there was dramatic growth in the 20th century in the use of print indexes as the scholarly community demanded improved access to a growing number of publications. And so the advent of the internet made it possible to subscribe to indexing databases via the web. And this is useful because digital indexes improve retrieval performance, enabling the identification of the best set of items for the user's purposes. And it's also very, very useful because, someone in China does not have to travel all the way to Kansas City to find what he or she is looking for their research. And for our purposes, in terms of the H.W. Wilson Art Index, and this is something we'll talk about in just a little bit, it's been said that most of the art we know about, most of the famous pieces of art that from around the world, we only know from a secondary source. So that means we've never seen it in person. And what's useful is the H.W. Wilson Art Index has an extensive range of high-resolution images for secondary source research.
So let's talk broadly about some types of indexes. We have general periodical indexes, and they can include broad subject periodical indexes, citation indexes, newspaper indexes, and indexes devoted to special types of material. For example, academic libraries, dissertations, and such. Publishers, they can vary. They can include commercial firms, professional organizations, and even governmental agencies. So the information is coming from a lot of different sources. H.W. Wilson is the longest established commercial firm for high-quality indexes, so not just art indexes. You may be familiar with EBSCOhost and ProQuest. They are two reference systems that distribute databases, and they feature high-quality indexes, so they're a really great place to jump off from. So, using an index search, let's get into it a little bit more.
How do you do that?
Well, here's some points to remember. Indexes, they usually contain a list of authors, titles, or subjects, and they don't give a comment. So it's different from an abstract. With an abstract, you will be presented with a summary of the content. So you'll have a deeper understanding of what you're going to be getting into if you decide to look at that article. An index differs because it doesn't give any of that. It gives the bare bones information. And they can vary from index to index. So it's not going to be the same across the board. Some indexes are going to give really specific information, and the level of detail for others may be not as great.
And another common problem is an issue of readability. Some indexes extensively abbreviate their lists, which makes entries hard to interpret. And it's also important to remember that some basic indexes maintain a list of subject headings called descriptors that must be used by the indexers to identify the subject of an item. And, descriptors vary from index to index.
In order to narrow down your search and find exactly what you're looking for, you can use the advanced search tools. And these will help give you less results, and so they're helpful to narrow in. But sometimes the best way to start is with a broad-based approach. Take a look at everything that's available, and you may be surprised by what you find.
Yeah, by scrolling through the sort of odd results and the overwhelming vast amounts of information that just a general search brings, it can add serendipity to the search. And then also just playing around with search terms really helps as well.
Now let's get into the H.W. Wilson Art Index. The Art Index, it covers hundreds of topics, and those topics include over 650 periodicals, more than 14,000 dissertations, and amazingly over 200,000 art reproductions, which is really a gem for those of us who love art.
Yeah, and subjects include art history, criticism, so you can find articles from Clement Greenberg and some of the major art critics of the 20th century, and artists themselves, because they often were critics. Architecture, architectural history, archaeology, antiques, museum studies, graphic arts, industrial design, landscape architecture, and then within that you can narrow it down with like women's studies, gender studies, etc.
So it can be very interdisciplinary, and it includes a lot of subjects that you might not term as art.
Right.
You may not think of when you think of art.
And so now we're going to jump into this tutorial here after giving you some background info and helpful tips. So let me bring up the William Allen White Library website. And I'm already logged in. Essentially, you're just going to go to the William Allen White Library website, go to their databases, and then if they're listed in alphabetical order, and you're looking for the art full text. So once you're there, they'll ask you for your login credentials. You'll type in your login credentials, and this is what will pop up. So once you're there, once you're there, you'll go to indexes. So click on indexes. And now we can start searching. So I'm going to search for popular contemporary artists who's kind of in vein with Andy Warhol, Jeff Koons. So you can browse an index via artist, author, corporate author, document type, ISBN number, the ISN, the journal name, language, subject terms, year of publication. So I am, for my purposes, going to use artists, and I'm going to type in Koons, Jeff, and I'm going to hit browse. And what this brings up is in the terms you'll see that there's Koons Jeff, there's Koons Jeff 1955 when he was born, and so what this is telling me, the records count, is that there's at least 222 records or articles or something where he's mentioned, and then there's at least another additional 42. So if we click on this one, because I want to kind of browse some of those records and go up to search, it will create a Boolean search with OR, so the ZM Koons Jeff in parentheses here, and it'll bring up a whole bunch of different articles. And on the left here, you'll see the source types. So there's magazines, 207, academic journals, 10, trade publications, 4, reviews. So this tells me where the sources are coming from. And say if I really wanted to be doing some really super scholarly work, I would probably want to look at the academic journals.
And another way that you can narrow that down up above, where it says scholarly peer-reviewed journals. It's a great place to start.
That is a very great place to start, especially if you're doing really in-depth research. But we're going to go back. and we're gonna. I had mentioned the use of images in H.W. Wilson, which is something that's really unique to its indexing.
So you see here the image pops up when you click on it, and it's a high resolution image, which is great because you can really get in and see some of the detail. In fact, I can see from this picture like the gallery that this is in, and even the camera that is taking the picture if I look close into the belly of that rabbit. So these kind of photographs and high-resolution images are really essential for people who are doing art research.
Oh yeah, extensively. And it's important to note that the Art Index has over 200,000 art reproductions. And so, this is great because the image is blown up for you. You're able to study the image, and the source of the image is listed for you. So there's where the image was taken from, and the corresponding article title, its image type, etc. What is the medium that is depicted? Is it a painting, photograph, sculpture, illustration? And it will also, when you click on an image, it will also help you get information regarding how to cite the image and permissions information as well, which is, in terms of permissions, it's distilled to the fact that an image can be printed for personal, non-commercial use, as well as used in presentations for educational use, consistent with the Copyright Act of 1973 and nothing else. And so if you look here, what this is describing me, the descriptor is that this is made out of stainless steel. There's the dimensions. It's Jeff Koons. The article comes from Pop Stars. This is the source, the volume, the issue, the page number, etc. So this is a feature I absolutely love.
Me too. What you're looking for, you think, okay, this is the article I want, these are the images I want. Let's go back and take a look at that article again.
All right.
So from this point, you know that this is what we're looking for. You can see here that you can either get the HTML full text or you can download the PDF. Let's go ahead and download the PDF.
Just a moment.
It specifies there that it's full text, so we know what we're getting. Here it is.
Sorry, the computer's running a little slow, but it's loading.
The nice thing about using the PDF full text is you're going to be able to download this onto your computer and actually save it, so you can find it and use it regardless of whether or not you're connected to the index.
And there's the initial image we were looking at, and the corresponding article is loading. Pop Stars. A splashy exhibition at the Tate Modern celebrates the house that Warhol built. How closely does it look for cracks in the walls? And there's Keith Haring, etc. Damien Hirst. And there's some of the article text. There's Warhol himself. And yeah, and that's probably some of the best features about the Art Index.
All right. So now that we've done a little more in-depth investigation into the H.W. Wilson Art Index, we want to close up by reviewing what we've learned. So let's do a learning check.
Yeah, what is an index? And how can you refine an index search in H.W. Wilson? And what is the H.W. Wilson Art Index useful for? Are all questions you should be asking yourself. And here's our bibliography. You can feel free to take a look at that at your leisure. And if you have questions or comments, you can contact us via email, the Canvas inbox, or in the discussion forum.
We hope this has been informative and useful for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you as well.